The 6 principles: process fairly and in a transparent manner. It is key that you put in your privacy notice who your data processors are, and you must name your data processors. So for example, you can no longer say MIS, you must state who your MIS provider is. It's all about being transparent of who you're sharing that data with. Use for a specified, explicit, legitimate purpose. If you're collecting data and you're putting it onto your website, for example, if you're collecting the child's photo and putting it onto your Facebook account, you would have to be explicit on what you're doing with that data. If at a later date you decide to put it on your Twitter account, you would have to state that in your consent form at the beginning, or you'd have to go back and get consent. Use in a way that's adequate, relevant, and limited. What are your data processors actually collecting? Are you aware of the data that they're collecting? For example, is your catering system pulling out the correct information? Are they pulling out just the child's name, their allergies, their dietary requirements? If that is the case, then that's perfectly fine. But if they're pulling out other information, why are they pulling that information out? Accurate and kept up to date. It's important that you keep your data that you hold accurate and up to date. Most schools that I've spoken to do their data validation every year. GDPR does not stipulate how often you have to do your data validation. The one thing I would say, if you do hold inaccurate data, you must delete the inaccurate data, write to the parents to get their correct data. Kept no longer than necessary. It's important that you have a retention policy. If you are unsure of your retention policy, for schools there is a website called Information Records Management Society. They have a school toolkit which is designed specifically for schools, and it goes into explicit detail of how long you need to keep certain elements for. Process in a manner that ensures appropriate security of personal data. There are lots of examples of this where schools struggle to meet this principle. For example, if you use unencrypted USB sticks in your schools and they have lots of personal and sensitive data on it, that would be deemed to be not appropriate security. Anytime you take data out that's in paper form, you will struggle to meet the appropriate security principle.